So, for the last couple weeks I've been waiting for the post to bring me a package. A special package that, besides looking amazing, also holds something amazing. As this package comes from a good friend of mine, Marvin Jerry, and I wouldn't have been able to do this project without his help, so big shout out to him. I had been in the market for a new Bachmann Thomas and he really came in clutch in helping me get one. One that's definitely a bit different than the usual. Now, at first glance, this Thomas may look pretty average. Definitely something you wouldn't call an ordinary. Nothing immediately jumps out as special about this model, but not only has the box been customized with Marvin's new logo, but the Thomas it holds also has a few modifications himself. That, and he doesn't look too keen to be stuck in this box, so let's go ahead and take him out. Starting with the most obvious and my favorite added feature, this model features a TVS accurate angry face, which is personally my favorite Thomas expression, which was also painted again by Marvin Jerry, who would even service Thomas's motor as to help him run a bit more smoothly. But those points aside, this Thomas is pretty standard. As I'm sure you can see, besides the change in the face, everything else is pretty normal. And in the defense of Bachmann, you don't really have to do much besides change the face to have a pretty accurate looking Thomas model. And for most people, this would normally be enough. But in terms of modeling, there's always more to be done. And what I would like to show you guys today is how to take that standard Bachmann Thomas and make something that's a little bit more TVS accurate, in a fashion that's not too hard, of course. My Thomas may look angry now, but Thomas would also come with a TVS accurate smiling face, also hand painted by my friend Marvin Jerry. So while his angry face is my personal favorite, he doesn't always have to look so pissy. Though keep the smiley face in mind, as I do have other plans for it. The faces themselves are held thanks to the inclusion of blue tack inside of Thomas. Now, once you've chosen your model's desired face, use a small cloth to clean off any dust that might have stuck to the model, as you don't want to trap anything that you're not putting there intentionally. Once you've cleaned the model off, section off his wheels and chassis with masking tape, as at this point I move in for my first coat of matte clear. The first initial coat helps the weathering powders that I plan to use on the model stick to it, and it really helps to dull out that shiny plastic look that the model has. The brand I'm using now is Rust-Oleum and should be found at any local hobby store. Once the model's been evenly sprayed, give it about 10 to 15 minutes to properly dry. Whenever you're working on a project like this, I recommend patience over anything, as rushing the process can definitely lead to some complications. But once the matte clear is dry and properly secured, now you're able to move in with that weathering powder. What I'm using here is the Coal Dust powder by Stardust, and typically I like to start around the bunker and back area, as this is where Thomas would likely be the most dirty, seeing as this is where the coal goes. Try to keep the dust consistent on either side, but don't worry too much about getting either one to match. Once you're satisfied with the look and have a bit of a feel for what you're doing, move to Thomas's side tanks. Now at this part, unless you want a significantly dirty Thomas, I wouldn't recommend using too much weathering powder. As you'll see here, I often wipe it off on my hand or wipe off the excess with my hand, as I want my Thomas to look like he's been working, but not necessarily unkept. So for now, I plan to keep the weathering a bit light. Once I'm satisfied with the main body, I move on to doing Thomas's footplate, front, and side area, using the same technique that I used for the body. However, when I move to model Thomas's top side, I tend to use a bit more weathering powder, as I imagine his funnel has definitely kicked up some soot. But again, the goal is not to do too much, so keep your eye on the parts in which you've already done. Feel free to touch up any spots in which you might have missed, as you want to make sure your model has a proper consistency, so make sure to keep your eye on the parts in which you've already done. Now that we have Thomas at our desired level of dirtiness, I move in for my final coat of matte spray, as with this we'll be able to trap in all of those powders that we've just put on. And with that, your Thomas model is pretty much complete. People often think that modeling and customizing trains is a lot harder than it actually is, and understandably so, as the task itself can seem a bit daunting. But with a little bit of practice and a little bit of patience, models like this aren't actually that hard to make, and trust me when I say if I can do it, you guys can too. You also totally don't have to stop here. I actually would go back and try to paint a portion of Thomas's body black. It took me a minute to work up the courage for that one, but once I added it, I really feel as if it helped to bring the model a bit more to life. And now not only do I have a TVS accurate angry Thomas, but a quite happy LBSC one as well. So now both Thomas models can have Classic Series accurate faces. A long overdue feature, and one that I'm definitely proud to finally implement. there would sadly be a paint mishap with the Blue Thomas model, leading to a small but noticeable chip in his paintwork, and to cover such up I actually decided to put some station adverts on him, as I really enjoyed when they did such to Edward, and in time plan to add some enamel better looking ones to the Thomas model. I know it's not the most realistic for an engine to boast an advert on his side, let alone Thomas, but it's only a small detail that is removable, and I really feel as if it adds a bit more character to this model. Perhaps he's angry because he has the adverts on it, or hey, maybe you could even call this Thomas privatized. The idea is it's all up to you. So at the end of the day, as long as you're satisfied with the model that you made, that's really all that matters, and hopefully I was able to help you guys in doing such yourself. As while modeling may seem intimidating, it's an amazing way to pass your time and can definitely help you feel good about something. And what can make you more proud than something you did with your own hands? As always, thank you guys for watching, and if you have any more questions, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. These things can unfortunately often be trial and error, so if you don't like your first model, don't be discouraged. You'll find that every single one you make just seems to get a little bit better and better, especially once you find out what works best for you and your own techniques. Don't stress yourself out too much over it, and don't critique yourself too much. Remember, the idea of this is to have fun, so make sure you're doing that before anything else. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, as there's always more train content on the way. And again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.